What are ghosts? Oh, I have theories. Have we not talked about this? Because I talk about this all the time.
I don't know if we talked about your theory.
My theories on ghosts is 100% correct.
We have not talked about it.
I am smart and I am right.
Is that what they're saying here?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that would be really cool.
I
do like your theory. It's pretty fun.
All right, so let's read the story from Live Science. Are ghosts real? Evidence has not materialized.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in ghosts, you're not alone. Cultures all around the world believe in spirits that survive death to live in another realm. In fact, ghosts are among the most widely believed of paranormal phenomenon. Millions of people are interested in ghosts, and a 2013 Harris poll found that 43% of Americans believe in ghosts. The idea that the dead remain with us in spirit is an ancient one, appearing in countless stories from the Bible to Macbeth. It even spawned a folklore genre, ghost stories. Belief in ghosts is part of a larger web of related paranormal beliefs, including near-death experiences, life and death, and spirit communication. The belief offers many people comfort. Who doesn't want to believe that our beloved but deceased family members aren't looking out for us or with us in our times of need? Now, I'm going to pause here and give a shout out to Penn Gillette, who said, who would really want to believe that when we die, we're trapped in this, in purgatory, playing parlor tricks on our loved ones.
Seriously.
Like shaking the lamp.
Right. Doesn't that seem
I'm
boring?
here, like rocking the table.
Pay attention to me.
They did a funny thing on the Showtime show. I can't say the name of the show, BS, where they showed a bunch of like people walking around naked, and they're like, "Why would your clothes go with you? Doesn't make sense."
It does not.
Like,
That's a good point.
Maybe, I don't know. All right, let's read a little bit more. They say people have tried to or claimed to communicate with spirits for ages. In Victorian England, for example, it was fashionable for upper crust ladies to hold seances in their parlors after tea and crumpets with friends. Ghost clubs dedicated to searching for ghostly evidence formed at prestigious universities, including Cambridge and Oxford. And in 1882, the most prominent organization, the Society for is that Psychical Research, was established. A woman named Eleanor Sidgwick was an investigator and later president of that group and could be considered the original female Ghostbuster. In America during the late 1800s, many psychic mediums claimed to speak to the dead, but were later exposed as frauds by skeptical investigators such as Harry Houdini. What a cool dude.
Yeah, there's movies about that.
Yeah.
Eleanor Sedgwick is a cool name.
Sidgwick.
Ooh,
very cool.
It wasn't until recently that ghost hunting became a widespread interest around the world. Much of this is due to the hit sci-fi cable TV series Ghost Hunters, now in its second decade of not finding good evidence for ghosts. The show spawned dozens of spin-outs and imitators, and it's not hard to see why the show is popular. The premise is that anyone can look for ghosts. The two original stars were ordinary guys, plumbers in fact, who decided to look for evidence of spirits. Their message: you don't need to be an egghead scientist or even have any training in science or investigation. All you need is some free time, a dark place, maybe a few gadgets from an electronics store. If you look long enough, any unexplained light or noise might be evidence of ghosts. Nah, I am not a fan of that stuff. They basically go in a dark room and they go, what was that?
Did you hear that?
The door closed. Whoa. And then they run out going,
are you in here?
And then they run.
Say my name if you're in here. Have you ever seen their show?
Yeah.
It's so
and then
bad.
they run full speed out of the room, and the other guy's like, what happened? Dude, just the door. It closed.
The door shut.
And
the
then
door shut a little bit.
And then they're like, whoa. And there was one I watched where the guy was like, I'll show you where. And they go back and there's no door. And he's like, what? But there was a door here. And they're like, and then like the music goes like, dun, dun, dun. And like zooms in on the guy's face. And I'm like, come on. A door didn't manifest and then like de-manifest. Get out of here.
People want to explore. People want to explore those places.
But what are ghosts?
That's what I'm thinking when I'm watching them.
I want answers.
Like, I want to go there.
The science and logic of ghosts. Ooh. One difficulty in scientifically evaluating ghosts is that a surprisingly wide variety of phenomena are attributed to ghosts, from a door closing on its own, to missing keys to a cold area in a hallway, to a vision of a dead relative. When sociologists Dennis and Michelle Waskell interviewed ghost experiencers for their 2016 book, Ghostly Encounters, The Hauntings of Everyday Life, they found that many participants were not sure that they had encountered a ghost, and remained uncertain that such phenomena were even possible, simply because they did not see something that approximated the conventional image of a ghost. Instead, many of our respondents were simply convinced that they had experienced something uncanny, something inexplicable, extraordinary, mysterious, or eerie. Thus, many people who go on record as claiming to have had a ghostly experience didn't necessarily see anything that most people would recognize as a classic ghost. And in fact, they may have had completely different experiences whose only common factor is that it could not be readily explained. Personal experience is one thing, but scientific evidence is another matter. Part of the difficulty in investigating ghosts is that there is not one universally agreed upon definition of what a ghost is. Some believe that they are spirits of the dead who, for whatever reason, get lost on their way to the other side. Others claim the ghosts are instead telepathic entities projected into the world from our minds. I have not heard that necessarily.
I
guess
either, but
maybe a
interesting.
poltergeist? I don't know. Still others create their own special categories for different types of ghosts, such as poltergeists, residual hauntings, intelligent spirits, and shadow people.
No, I don't think that meant poltergeist. I think that meant other claim that ghosts are instead telepathic entities projected into the world from our own minds. What I'm getting from that
Tripping.
is essentially, yes, people tripping on whether it's on something else or just that there's a screw loose in their head that makes them see something. I mean, that makes sense to me.
The article kind of just goes on and talks about the logical inconsistencies. Here's some funny things. It says, there are many contradictions inherent in ideas about ghosts. For example, are ghosts material or not? Either they can move through solid objects without disturbing them, or they can slam doors shut and throw objects across the room.
Yeah.
Well, it takes time. You got to learn how to slam.
That's what we've seen in the movies.
Yeah,
you got to focus, like in Beetlejuice, right?
Or Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ghost. Let's see what according to logic and the laws of physics, it's one or the other. If ghosts are human souls, why do they appear clothed and with presumably soulless inanimate objects like hats, canes, and dresses, not to mention the many reports of ghost trains and cars and carriages? I actually have another ghost theory that I didn't tell you guys about.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
I've got two.
Are you going to talk about the first one too?
Yes.
All right, good.
You're going to love this.
Okay.
If ghosts are the spirits of those whose deaths were unavenged, why are there unsolved murders, since ghosts are said to communicate with psychic mediums and should be able to identify their killers for the police and so on? Just about any claim about ghosts raises logical reasons to doubt it.
I agree.
Ghost hunters use many creative and dubious methods to detect the spirit's presence, often including psychics. Virtually all ghost hunters claim to be scientific, and most give the appearance because they use high-tech scientific equipment, such as Geiger counters, electromagnetic field detectors, ion detectors, infrared cameras, and sensitive microphones. Yet none of this equipment has ever been shown to actually detect ghosts. For centuries, people believed that flames turned blue in the presence of ghosts. Today, few people accept that bit of lore, but it's likely that many of the signs taken as evidence by today's ghost hunters will be seen as just as wrong and antiquated centuries from now. Other researchers claim that the reason ghosts haven't been proven to exist is that we simply don't have the right technology to find or detect the spirit world. But this, too, can't be correct. Either ghosts exist and appear in our ordinary physical world, or they don't. If ghosts exist and can be scientifically detected or recorded, then we should find hard evidence of that, yet we don't. If ghosts exist but cannot be scientifically detected or recorded, then all the photos, videos, audio, and other recording claimed to be evidence of ghosts cannot be ghosts. With so many basic contradictory theories, and so little science brought to bear on the topic, it's not surprising that despite the efforts of thousands of ghost hunters on television and elsewhere for decades, not a single piece of hard evidence of ghosts has been found. And of course, with the recent development of ghost apps for smartphones, it's easier than ever to create seemingly spooky images and share them on social media, making separating fact from fiction even more difficult for ghost researchers. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. I know what ghosts are.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Tell.
I know everything.
It's just
yeah.
electrical currents through the air.
So here's what I'm thinking about. They talk in this article about the logical inconsistencies of what a ghost even is.
Okay.
Is it a physical thing? Is it like a light in a photo? Is it a flicker, a streak of light in a photo? Is it a person with a cane walking through the house? They don't really know. These are a bunch of different things that may very well be different things. But I started to think about the various stories told by people and what is a commonality between them and what could be a plausible solution. So first, what are the common tropes of hauntings? I'm going to be selective on this first theory. I shouldn't say theory. I should say not even a hypothesis. Fun thought. We'll call it that. Old buildings.
Old buildings.
It's always old buildings. And I'm thinking, why? Well, what they like to say is that because someone passed away, like the older the building, the more likely it is someone may have passed in it, and now you live in the building.
Or the likeliness that more than one person
has
passed in it.
And so then you have these hotels where it's like old lady Susan shows up at room 13 at night, and they tell you that story, and then people keep seeing like a figure moving through the halls or whatever. But it's always like translucent, or it's a shadow person in the corner of your eye and you look and they're gone. So here's what I started thinking. A fun thought. I'm not saying I believe it, but think about, we experience, and I could be totally wrong about this, it's just for fun. We experience 4 dimensions. We have 3 spatial dimensions and 1 time dimension. Mm-hmm. We can't control the time dimension. We move through that. So the way I explain to people is try and perceive the time dimension kind of like if it was space. And if you could actually conceive of it, it would be like driving as a passenger in a car.
Yeah.
You are moving nonstop, or better yet, falling indefinitely. If time is spatial, we are essentially falling indefinitely because we can't control it in any capacity. We're just like, well, go down. Now imagine that you live in a really, really old building. Let's say it was built in the 1800s. One fun thought, extra dimensional beings that exist on a 1 dimension higher than us in the 5th dimension, or in a 5th dimension that they can't control, so they can experience time as a spatial dimension. The easiest way to explain that would be if a room in a house wasn't just up the stairs and to the left. It was up the stairs to the left and back a couple years. That's how they would actually give directions. Like, hey, where do you keep the Fanta? It's like, oh, Fanta. That's go downstairs, take a right in the hallway, a left just around the corner, and then go back in time about 4 years, and it's in the fridge.
Right.
So treating time. So I'll put it this way. Let's say they're extra dimensional beings. We wouldn't be able to perceive them because we're moving through time in 1 direction. That means they can literally just walk around whatever our perception is, and we wouldn't even be able to comprehend it. But that's why we see shadow people in the blink of an eye for a split second.
Yeah.
Because it's the one point at which they were passing through, and a fraction of a second you saw it, and when you look, they're gone because they moved the other direction in time, which we can't do. It also, it's a fun idea as to why they're always in old buildings. Because it's big. The older the building, the longer the building is. Mm-hmm. So they just go in there. Then why do they slam doors, flicker lights, and do parlor tricks?
Because they like their space.
It scurries the people out of the room.
Yeah.
So imagine you're seeing these people move in like this predictable direction. And you're an extra dimensional being, and your buddies come over for extra dimensional pizza, and they're like, "Hey, where do you keep the like tab?" And you're like, "Oh, tab, man, that's back in whatever whatever year. When was tab a thing? Is tab still a thing?
I don't know.
Coke 2 that was the thing, right? That's back in the 90s or whatever." And you're like, "Oh, but there's a bunch of humans." It's like go back 1 month and bang on the door until they leave.
But they might take the tab with them though.
No. Oh, yeah, they might not restock it. But what you do is you wait till they restock the tab, and then you see the human's path of where they're going to go because they can perceive time. They bang on the door real quick, and then the line shifts and goes in a different direction because now they're panicking over the weird things happening in their house, and now you can walk in and have the space all to yourself. Extra dimensional beings.
That is really interesting and jives perfectly with my theory, which has to do with parallel universes. Because I don't know if either of you guys watched Fringe when that was a thing.
But
I actually kind of like that. Yeah, I really liked that,
was
show
such a
when
good
it was
show.
a thing.
Let's geek out on that later.
Right, yeah, for
Fringe.
sure. So that there's like a parallel universe that they're operating in. So to me, that makes
whoa!
I got a better one.
Okay,
Though.
all right, it's been gone for like 10 years.
I got a better one.
What's up?
What if our reality and time? So let's imagine that time isn't necessarily something we're falling through and exists simultaneously, like could be perceived as space. Let's say it's more like a Mobius strip, a fabric, right, that moves around. So this was a visualization I saw of like something a long time ago of M theory, like 12 dimensional M theory or something. And there was like weird dimensional fabrics that were like moving around. And I started thinking about why is it that we see a person from the 1800s with a cane and a suit? Because the time we're on and the time they're on is like a strip, and they just brushed each other really quickly.
Okay.
And so the rooms are synchronized, but the people are not. So it's a rare occurrence where there are key folds in the space-time.
Okay, I could see that.
So why is it this old building is haunted? Well, it's because 100 years ago, the person saw you in the future when their fabric brushed past.
They thought they saw ghosts too.
And so they started telling people about the ghosts. I saw a strange man wearing clothes I can't describe. It was very, very strange, and they write it down. 100 years later, you go there thinking the same thing. The different fabrics of the Mobius, time strip brush, and then you see the guy, and you're like, oh, it's true, I saw the ghost. That would explain why they're wearing clothes, why they're there for the blink of an eye.
Wow.
but it's not necessarily even mathematically plausible or physically plausible because I don't know enough about quantum physics to actually entertain these ideas.
See, I think this is all just electricity. It's all electricity. We're made of water. The Earth has a natural electrical current going around it every single day called the telluric current. There's ley lines that they're stronger in some places than others, and we're energy beings. And when that current goes through us, like it's not like something you can feel. It's not like, oh, here comes the telluric current. Oh, zzz. It's not like that. But who knows the trick to the brain that it does, because it's less during the night, and it
So
starts.
what do you mean? You're saying you're like hallucinating or what?
No, I mean I'm saying like a flash. It could be just a electrical charge in the air that, like, people say, when they take a picture and they're like, oh, there's all the spots, those are ghosts. It's like, no, that's electrical energy in the air.
So do you know the Ashbury in Chicago?
No, it's not.
It's a cafe in Willow Springs. I think it's in Willow Springs, South Side. You take the Archer Avenue down to the South Side. I could be getting this wrong, but I was there and someone was telling me that like they've been pushed down the stairs before. Like there's a famous story or something that happened. Like I don't know, but there's also Resurrection Mary. Like Chicago's got a ton of really famous ghost stories.
Okay.
And I don't know how you explain this stuff.
Well, how did you get famous? How do you get famous nowadays? Now it's the internet, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get famous back in the day? You're either really famous for some specific reason, or something crazy happened to you that like spread around. It's just,
yeah, but
it's hard for me to believe that people are getting pushed downstairs, But at the same time, my mom watches this ghost stuff, and there's this one show, I don't remember the name of it, but there's an old New York cop, and then there's this psychic, and she goes that there's this, her husband comes into the house, clears out the house of all like family pictures, all this stuff. She goes and just does a walkthrough, right? And then the cop, he goes through the town, researches the house, who got killed there, who was murdered there, like anything that he could find, dig up. And they don't talk at all. I mean, that's what they say on the show. I don't know if it's true or not. But then she like has a sketch artist come, and she's like, all right, this is what I saw, this and that. And then she gives him all the stuff in like a sealed envelope, and they sit down with the people, and the cop opens the stuff, and he starts talking about what he has researched. And of course, like 9 out of 10 episodes is like she's spot on to all this
fake,
stuff,
dude. It's TV. Come on.
Well, I mean, if yeah, exactly. I agree. It doesn't make any sense.
Good TV.
And all I can think, it's like there's got to be some sort of thing we're not thinking about, and I think it's the electricity in there. I mean, Tesla sent energy out, and they couldn't charge people for it, so they scrapped his experiments. But it's like he was pulling that electricity from the air, from the telluric current. Actually, that's what
I don't know enough about Tesla to.
I do know a few things about one of his main experiments, which is what Edison shut him down. He was like, "How do we sell this to people?" And he was like, "We can't. It's just in the air. It just will light bulbs." Like he held a light bulb in his hand because he sent energy into the air, and it was able to charge the bulb. And it's like,
but I'm pretty sure we can do that.
But why don't we do that?
No. I mean, because
the thing is,
it's about efficiency, long-term use. Like,
well, back then it was about making people pay for it. But the energy is. My point is, the energy is there. We're on a planet that has a natural magnetic energy, and it's like we don't really understand what that is.
Yeah, well, right. Directing the energy in a specific direction so that it can be utilized to charge a closed system or something is very different.
All of their ghost, tools or whatever have to do with electromagnetic energy.
Yeah, but they made it up.
No, I know, but
like,
the reason why they get fluctuations is because that's what happens on the planet. There is fluctuations of that kind of energy.
Well, there actually is a very simple scientific explanation that's been
of what?
Proposed for what people experience. Ultra low frequency sound.
Sound that makes sense to me too.
Yeah. So it's
definitely sound frequency.
It causes people to feel chills. It makes people they've replicated this stuff. Ultra low frequency sound you can't detect, you can't hear, and they think there's just some areas that have tectonic activity that create an ultra low sound frequency.
And wouldn't it make sense that some frequencies vibrate our eyeballs? I'm dead serious.
No,
I'm not joking.
That's literally
Sure,
people will hallucinate a little bit. They'll get stressed. They'll feel chills.
Yeah.
They'll feel like someone's watching them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're getting this weird, energy, sound vibration.
Is this what happens to people who live really close to like those really big windmills? The
I don't know.
sound gets
Maybe.
to them. Yeah,
I have no
I don't
idea.
know. Yeah,
Weird wavelength.
I haven't
Yeah, it's different. I'll
Perhaps-
get up.
been near it.
Perhaps we will never know.
I will know one day.
Yeah, we'll all learn.
10 minutes after my heart beats. For the last time, I will know.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show every Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., sometimes an hour or two. And we do have a full live recorded version of the show that includes a lot of comments and smaller segments you probably don't see. If you want to check that out, you can watch live at 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, or become a member of this channel. And for $5 a month, you get full access to all of the recorded podcasts. Every day after the show, we make them available in the community section of this YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe and stick around for more segments and more shows Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all in the next show.